That's
Yeah.
great. Fucking like on a podcast about like nutrition and exercise. You know what we need to get back to? The source material for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like that has gone too far.
Welcome to In Moderation.
The show where we give you a moderate dose of info, sarcasm, and we already know we're not approved.
Welcome back to In Moderation. Guess who's back?
Guess who's back from a little
technically
hiatus?
both of us, because last week I left Liam to record a podcast without me, and it just kind of I
didn't know you were letting me leave me. We were checking and we were worried that we wanted to make sure you were okay. We're like, damn, it would be real bad if we recorded something and then something terrible happened. And like, dude, why'd you record it without me? I was like, I don't know. So we just left it later.
Yeah, I might have been a little off my rocker and asleep in bed.
Yes. Listen, that shit
I had
happened.
the thing open because on my phone to let it record, and I had the phone sitting on the desk beside me. So every once in a while, I'd like do the whole hazy wake up and look over at the phone and be like, "Oh yeah, people are recording. Good night."
Okay. I didn't even know what was going on. I was very confused.
I think it was Alex called me in the middle of it, and that woke me up, and I was like, "Oh shit, was I snoring? Can they hear me?"
No, we could not. And then I got super sick. Holy shit. I felt like I got hit like by a bus. I mean, damn, like it was the worst since COVID. I felt just terrible. So listen, we're back. Everything's fine. And we have another guest. So, hey, Matt, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Well, my name is Matt. I am a physical therapist down here in Texas. Been a physical therapist about 14 years now.
I feel like everybody's from Texas.
It feels like everyone's like a lot of the people we know are from Texas.
Okay. I'll back up. I live in Texas now. I'm from Mississippi. So I don't have a Texan accent. I have a Southern accent. So
I like it.
I don't know that I would be able to distinguish the difference. Well, maybe if I heard it, I'd distinguish the difference. But
if you did, and so I tell people I speak two languages, English and bad English. So
that checks out.
Yeah. I feel like that's what most Americans speak, though. So I feel like we're good.
Yeah. And if I get really drunk or anything, I start speaking banjo. It's even crazier.
Banjo, like is that like Dale or whatever? Or not Dale? Boomhauer?
Yeah, pretty close to that. Pretty close to that.
Yeah. From
King the worst is even Cajun. If you ever get down to Louisiana,
King of the Hill. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
They're rebooting everything. Of course they are. They bring everything. Hey, this entire generation is just, hey, remember that thing? Let's do it again. Except for Blade. Much. They're like, we can't make it happen. Never mind. We give up.
Can we please stop rebooting Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
I mean, I guess, like...
I would like to just go back to the original. I know I'm getting off on a tangent here, but I'd like to go back to the original source material that was like more adult oriented. Like it was dark.
Yeah, the original was really dark.
That's great. Fucking like on a podcast about like nutrition and exercise. You know what we need to get back to? The source material for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like that has gone too far.
I don't know. Did y'all play the Nintendo Ninja Turtle game? Like, oh man, I love
the original old school
Nintendo
arcade one.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Love that one.
Oh shit, that's great. But anyway, besides like Ninja Turtles, Matt, what do you do? What's your background?
So I work in orthopedics. I've been doing that my entire career. I am a diplomat in the McKinsey approach, or MDT, as whatever it's called. I'm a fellow of the AAOMBT as well. I do have a social media that I'm on there. I'm usually just a goofball, just making funny videos and content and talking as well about physical therapy topics. And there's a lot of things that I am passionate about. I've followed both of you guys for quite a while now. And like I said, Rob turned me on to a lot of the information. And what caught me was the beard. And I said, I have now relegated my beard to the second best around. Because that is truly epic. And Liam, watching your stuff and just the tips and stuff and the nutrition and the foods and stuff like that, like, oh, this is really cool. And I said, hey, you know what? This is something nutrition is not really spoken enough about in the rehab world with our patients, because there is so much.
I never hear anything about it.
Yeah.
I remember reading an article in a Run magazine years ago, and it was a guy. He was an elite runner. I think he was a trail runner, and he was talking about like he grew up in the woods. He's like, oh, I could catch a fish and fry it up or skin a deer, and he goes, but
Okay.
when I went more plant based, he said I found my running got better. So he started looking at his nutrition with his running. But he also said in the article, he goes, I was a physical therapist, and he said I would take somebody in the hospital room, had just recovered from surgeries, or somebody very, very sick, have to get them up and go walk them and try to get them back to where they were. And he goes, then put them in the bed and they'd bring this slop. And he's like, how is this person supposed to get better with eating this food? So that's kind of sparked a little bit. I mean, I am not the best on nutrition, but it's something I do talk to patients with at times. And I do feel like in the rehab world that we do need to be able to have that conversation. At least if we can have the conversation, that's good. Maybe not break down exactly what you need, but having people to direct to. So I do have dietitian and nutritionists that I know and trust, that when patients really get into it, it's like, hey, I was the introductory thing. Someone told me, if you just have a thimble full of knowledge, that's all you need, and you can direct them to the next person. And that's what I do. I direct them over to say, hey, these are additional things that is going to help you even more.
That's exactly how the system should work.
Mm-hmm.
I just have to say that.
Yeah. And I mean, it's tough with hospitals, though, like you brought up the hospitals, because, they cook food for how many people? If it's a bigger hospital, it's a lot of people. They're probably looking at it like, okay, they need this many calories, and they should probably have carbohydrates, fats, and protein. And then past that, there's probably, it's like there are dietitians that are in the hospital and they do try and work with them, but, they're limited in what they can do. So I think that's, once you get outside of
the perspective of somebody who's autistic with like really bad food aversion, I basically can't eat in a hospital.
Yeah, I'm sure hospital. In
hospitals, that it is like you have people with certain restrictions, like, they can't eat this, or they can't have this, they can't have certain consistencies and stuff. Thick water is a weird thing. It is a
like,
weird.
Wait, when they thicken it up with those little packets or whatever?
That's just like, that's just weird. Like, I've only spent a little time in the hospital, but I see, like, I don't knock on the hospital system, because you're getting people food. But I know, like, once I work outpatient with orthopedics, and I get somebody comes in, has a knee replacement. And one thing that I do now, I'm like, are you eating? And people will say, like, no, I just don't have an app. I just don't. I said, your body is healing. Like,
is that the biggest thing you find with people who have like a surgery or something like that? Maybe they're just not hungry afterwards. They don't eat as much. Is that like one of the bigger issues you see?
Yes. So so it's a couple things. So like, they probably don't have an appetite because the medications are on if they're on an opioid, constipation. So they're like, I'm kind of blocked. I don't want to eat. The access to it gets hard, because again, if you had a knee replacement and you live alone, can you get someone to prepare a meal for you? And so it's hard to get up and go to the kitchen. It's hard to, I can't stand to prepare the meal. I can't. So it is something to say, like, hey, make sure that you're getting in a few extra calories, extra 300 calories. You had a bone cut off and you had this thing hammered. You're going to need that to recover as we're pushing you, getting better. You're going to need that.
It's funny, because you brought that up. Rob, you recently did a video with our best friend Bobby, who was going after the Ensure drinks, like the meal replacements, and because like Zach Cohen has talked about this before, where he's he was very sick. He was in the hospital. He had a lot of surgeries. He lost a ton of weight because he just wasn't hungry, wasn't eating, and at that point it frustrates me, because I see a lot of these like grocery store walkers saying, like, what are, after when they're sick and when you have cancer, you should be eating all these super nutritious foods. I'm like, they don't want to eat fucking shit at that point, because they feel horrible.
Oh,
so like anything that you can eat just to get, because your body, there's a few times your body needs like extra calories. Like, it's when you're growing as a child, you're going to need some extra calories. You're pregnant, or you're sick. Like when you're sick, you need extra calories because you're fighting off whatever infections, disease, whatever state. And so like whatever works to get that in, that's kind of like step one. You can do things after that, but first let's make sure, you know, you get the calories you need. If that's an Ensure shake or
Yeah.
whatever, awesome.
That's what somebody told me about using cannabis, marijuana with cancer patients. They said it gives them the munchies.
Yeah.
So it facilitates them to start eating too. And I was like, oh, well, that's really interesting. I never even thought about that. But they said,
I have heard that.
Yeah. It's like just thinking, do you want them eating Funyuns? Like,
I mean, do you like, it's like what you want them to eat? You want them just to eat at first. Like that's the most important thing. And then, you know, after that, like Funyuns are better than nothing. Like if you were to eat nothing or that, at least the Funyuns would help more than nothing. But yes, of course, you want to try. And after that, if you can't eat, find something more, more nutritious to help, you know, again, fight off whatever surgery or disease state or whatever happened.
Yeah. And as we get calories into the person, it starts to get their hunger signals going again and stuff. And that they'll actually start to feel hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's an interesting thing you brought up about like, you know, like when people talk about like you need to be eating these lean meats and fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. I deal with some people that, you know, live in a food desert, like happen to live in an inner city or very rural. It's like they don't have the money to go buy that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, like again, for being from Mississippi, I saw a good number of people that get, you know, have a government assistance. So they get Meals on Wheels and it's just highly processed foods, but it's free to them. It's brought to them. And it's like, yeah, really easy for you to say that. Very hard for them to go access that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll say someone has like maybe, you know, like, well, first, I guess I should say like in that sort of situation, you kind of work with what you have. You know, talk about turning people onto things. Obviously, I love Dollar Tree dinners. Like she's like one of the greatest accounts. She, you know, shops at Dollar Tree and other places, but focuses on Dollar Tree and shows you how you can actually make meals for, you know, from Dollar, because Dollar Tree has more locations than any like Walmart or, you know, Kroger or any of these other grocery stores.
We even have them in Canada.
Yeah. Dollar General, I think, has even more. So like these Dollar General, Dollar Tree, it's a lot of times it's what people have access to. So I would highly recommend that, you know, looking into that. But say someone, you know, has a little bit more access, like after someone has surgery, is there some like general guidelines you give them when you talk to them about nutrition? Like, what do you start with? Like, what do you tell them?
So first off, it's like, if coming after surgery, it's like, are you eating? You know, that just starts the conversation. And luckily I do get people that have a support system around them. They have a spouse at home, their kids are helping. I was like, okay, good. You have that. But we talk about, you know, make sure that you're getting calories in, and we may just talk about, it's like, I know you're probably not hungry. I'm like the medications, you know, right after anesthesia's getting out of you, you're taking all this other stuff, you're just hurting, you just don't feel good. The things like shakes, I was like, hey, a shake gets you a couple 100 calories in, that you get something in. Make sure that you're getting your water in, you know, just keep your water with you, get your water in. It's going to help with your medication absorption too. It's going to help your stomach. So just
flavor the water if you need to. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah. So I start with just some of those basics on it, and luckily, like a good number of people kind of understand, like, oh, like eating. But I forget a few about like, well, what are some things to do? I mean, I was like peanut butter and jelly sandwich, like. That's a simple thing. I was like, peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like I think peanut butter and jelly sandwich is the greatest thing ever made. You can have it morning.
Okay, listen, I'm glad you brought that up, because I that's an opportunity to bring up my favorite study ever, which was the University of Michigan, which is funny because, you know, worked at Ohio State forever, but University of Michigan looked at 5,800 foods, and they tried to calculate how much time they take away or add to your life, essentially from a multitude of different factors. I forget how many factors they looked at. But basically, well, they found the food that took away the most time was a hot dog, which is kind of funny. You know, processed meats in general, not the
Right.
greatest thing for us, right? You know, a lot of different things going on there. But the food that the food they found that added the most time was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich at like 33 minutes to your life was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, mostly driven by the peanuts because nuts and seeds are just fantastic for our health because of, you know, poly and monounsaturated fats, fiber, they got some protein, they have antioxidants, you know, and peanuts like just cheap and, you know, you can get them most places, you know, a simple sandwich, like it's, you know, sandwiches, bread, they get demonized, but like it's quick, it's easy, and clearly not terrible for you if, you know,
Yeah.
that's what they're finding.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can luckily get some people that come in pre-surgery. And so say again, they're going to have a knee replacement. They're going to have a rotator cuff repair. Talk about like meal prep. Just make a bunch of stuff, throw it in the freezer. I said, cause you're not going to want to sit around and cook. You don't want to cut up stuff. You don't want to think about it.
You know what I think would be really good in that situation? I've been seeing Stealth Health doing a bunch of these. I've been meaning to like do a review of one of these. Is the frozen burritos? Man, I'm telling you, you just get like, you know, you could make a bunch of burritos. You can make everything on a sheet pan if you want, and then freeze them. And in the freezer, they'll last, I don't know, a really long time. I mean, I ate them for a long time. And so, yeah, you can just take them out and eat them. And so if you have something that, you know, afterwards, you're not going to feel super up to it, you know, and you have time, make something like that. They're actually really good. I've frozen them. I've thawed them out in the microwave, and they're still pretty darn good.
Yeah, a little hot sauce on it doesn't hurt nothing.
Yeah, hot sauce on everything, man. I'll tell you, when that sriracha went away, I was sad. I was like, I know it's basic. Listen, I get it's basic, but it was a meme and everything for a reason, because it's really good. All right, the green cap.
Since I've been here in Texas, I got on the Cholula. I think that's the name of it.
Cholula's really good. Another like good, like bigger brand, but still like really good. And they got Chipotle, they got other flavors. You get to go to Costco. It's $9.95, and you get 2 of the big bottles, because otherwise they're kind of expensive. You get the little bottles, and I'll go through those quickly. Those things they're good. I think slap, as the kids would say. I don't understand like kids lingo. It's always changing.
Do they use slap still?
I think they use slap, or maybe they use smack.
I got a teenager, and I don't know if I've heard it. I hear bruh a lot.
Bruh.
just in the other bruh. Yes. Oh.
Hey,
Sigma?
Can you meal prep a little bit, bruh? Come on, bruh.
Can you go brush your teeth, bruh?
Luckily, my one she is one, and her thing is that's all she does, going around just saying over and over again. But other people, it makes their day, so it's funny.
Yeah, it's always cute.
But so, you know, after that, like, so yeah, after they have surgery, is that just kind of the basic guidelines? Do you give anything else on just like specific foods or macronutrients? Is there anything that you say there, or is it just you just turn it off, direct them after that? So
I may get into just really kind of gauging their interest in it, because sometimes, I mean, they're going to be like, oh, okay, and it's like, okay, I'm not going to sit here and just add it, because you're not listening to me,
right?
But we get into talking about, like, make sure you get your protein in. That's a lot of stuff I talk to patients about. Like, get your protein in, especially as patients get older.
Seriously, yeah, like after like 50, 60, you know, muscle mass starts to deteriorate.
It is so hard to get my dad to eat a decent amount of protein.
A lot of them just don't. They are eating like 30 grams of protein a day, maybe 20 grams of protein a day, just not very much.
Yeah, and that's what they said. Like the protein has building blocks to repair that tissue. I said when you consume the protein, and we'll go through the different things of, like, you know, most people know, you know, meat, chicken, steak, you know, okay, burgers, I can have that. I was like, you know, eggs, you can make hard-boiled eggs, and you just keep those in a thing in the fridge, you pull them out, you know,
Can I say, like, Costco and Sam's Club, they got the big packs that are already made, and some people like to make them themselves, but like, I just don't have time for that. So I just get, they are in 2 individual packs, which I need that, because if it's in like a giant package and I open it, it's going to go bad. But the individual packages, or 2, like there's 2 in a pack, and they last like 4 months. And I need that because I'm the type of person, I'll put something in the fridge and it's there for months, and I look at it, I'm like, oh shit, and now it's moldy and gross. So like, I have something that's good for like 5 months in the fridge. Yes, please. I'm getting that. And that's perfect.
Yeah. And then, protein shakes. I tell people, I was like, I like, people don't know what protein shake, protein, whatever. I always say, can you see products on here?
Yeah, we don't give a shit.
Yeah, whatever.
So Optimum Nutrition protein, I have used it since I was in high school.
Like the pre-made shakes or the powder?
Just the big tub.
But okay, yeah.
And I was like, Costco has like the 5-pound bag. It's like, if you want to go there, it's like, you get on Amazon. I said, the flavors are great. I've tried like almost all the flavors. I said, it tastes good. It's not grainy. I said, that's just one I like. You can mix it with milk or water. I said, it's easy. 10 seconds, you've got 30 grams of protein in.
If you've got like a little blender, throw a little ice in there, with some milk, I'm telling you, that's, chocolate. If you can throw some peanut butter powder in there, I'll always do that with shakes because I like a chocolate peanut butter thing. And peanut butter powder obviously has more protein to it. So it's so simple.
I get asked a lot, like what brand I should be buying, what protein I should be buying. Whatever tastes good to you and fits your budget, because they're all just
Sam's
dried
Club.
milk.
Sam's Club Fairlife 12 packs. They're 21 and some change. They're under $22. And that's the cheapest price I've seen, because otherwise they're like $3.50 up for the pre-made ones. They're like $3.50 each. And I'm like, that's a lot for a shake. So I always get like 3 of those 12 packs. And, $60, whatever. Like I get a lot of them. I'm still drinking them. I have one after the gym. It's just super simple. And Fairlife is the best tasting by far. I've tried a bunch of other ones. Honestly, Walmart, they're like Equate ones. It's very simple. It's very similar to like the Pure Protein or Premier Protein or whatever it is. Yeah. Premier Protein. It's just a lot cheaper. So like if you're someone who likes like Premier Protein, go to Walmart, get like the Equate ones, and they got different flavors, salted caramel, blah, blah, blah. They're pretty good. They're solid, put them over ice. But you can use them as creamers in your coffee. If you're a coffee drinker or a tea drinker, a lot of people love to put them in their coffees use that as the creamer. So just an easy way. Look for easy ways to get your protein in. In my desk drawer right here, I got the Only Bean dry roasted edamame. So when I'm just sitting here, I can just eat these. I just try and make it easy on me.
Yeah. And that's what I really try. It's like, if you put these things there, they're going to be easier to do. If you got the hard-boiled eggs available, if you got cans of tuna available, you're going to do it. If you have to I got to go do it and I got to cook it. You probably don't. I will destroy a Costco chicken. Like
the rotisserie chickens,
$5.
I'm losing money by not buying it.
Yes. So I like every week we get 2 of them, and I always said just shred it, leave it in the fridge. I want a sandwich. I just want put a little barbecue sauce. Or I want a little. I was like, it's shredded. It's there. You can get your protein in. Really, you can throw it in a sandwich. You can throw it on a salad. You can just.
I used it recently for one of the dense bean salads, which I like those because I don't have to cook really anything. So you just add canned beans and peppers and whatever else you like, in there. Corn, it's frozen. Perfect. Throw it in there, sauce, and then shredded chicken. Boom. I never had to cook a single thing. And now I've got 5 meals for the next few days. Because, yes, if I'm the person where if I sit there and I'm already super hungry, I'm not going to sit. I'm Randy, but I hate spending 45 minutes for one goddamn meal. And I eat that and I'm done. I spent 45 minutes for that. It just seems like such a massive waste of time. I'd rather spend that meal prep, make a bunch of meals, and then I'm set for a while. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what sometimes as well with patients, and I run into this, you kind of listen to stuff what to do, you need to do this. And they're like, well, do I need to meal prep 10 meals and having all that, with all this in it? And I'm like, do you like that? And they may say, well, no, it's a lot. Okay, well, they don't do that because if you don't
Yeah.
like it, you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
like, well, what do you like? And they may say, like, I like, steaks, or I like burgers, or I like. Well, what if you made like a bunch of ground beef and you can leave that in there and you just scoop some out and you have that and you can mix it with other things and it's quick and easy, like you could do. And it just like, so let's remove a barrier. Let's quit thinking big here. Let's go to this little thing and just think about that little thing that it's just going to make it a little easier for you.
Because once you have something down, it makes it a lot easier to jump to the next thing. I find, I'm telling you, like lately I've been like, okay, I'm going to try and get like one simple thing done in the morning. And it's usually like just like I'm going to organize this, I'm going to clean out that. And once I do that, I just feel better. And I'm like, okay, I'm fine. I'll do the next thing I need to do. Like it really just, it gets the ball where I'm going to make my bed, like with something simple, which I normally don't do. I'm like, I'm actually going to make my bed like an adult today. And then I feel more accomplished and I'm willing to go on to do the next thing.
Do the things one step at a time instead of trying to Ninja Warrior it and jump through a bunch of hoops.
But like you said, like the ground beef, like just have like ground beef cooked. Perfect. Okay. So now you have that, then you can make you can make a sandwich, you can make whatever, you can just have something ready so that it's easier to jump off from there. I really like that. So
it's like,
put your protein in.
Yeah. It's like, you don't have to make these grand, just make a little something for you. Yeah. Make it easier on yourself.
Okay. So yeah, nutritious foods, protein, is that about it? And then you turn them out, transfer them over from there. Is there anything else?
Well, we start that in a lot of, at least start thinking about it, and we may talk about like, a little bit about like some of the carbohydrates and things like, because then people start bringing up diets and stuff. They may say, what I need to do the keto thing.
Like, what about keto? What about intermittent fasting?
What do I got to do with this? And it's like, I said, look, you probably may not need that. It's like, so we may talk. I don't know a ton about the diets and things like that. And I tell them, it's like, I don't know a ton about it. I know a little bit to be dangerous. But it's like, no. You don't need to go really into that. It's like, start that first step. And you start this kind of, again, like you said, do that first step. Because I always see people's like, if you throw it all out, in 2 days, you already got it all back. It's like,
100%.
Like no. Just start with this one thing. We'll talk about like the fats and the carbohydrates. Like you're going to need that energy. Like you are going to need energy to do your exercise, go for a walk, do this or do that. So yes, getting your carbohydrates in is important, and maybe talk about limiting some of them, because it may be just like more in the terms of like an excessive calorie intake with it.
Right.
Not saying like carbs are bad or anything, but saying like, no, you need that. But having
the added sugars and stuff, we are generally consuming a lot of those. We could, a lot of people could do with cutting them back a little bit. And usually the easiest way is by you add more protein into your diet, it's going to displace those added sugars a little bit.
Yeah. And it's saying like, you're not having like some carbohydrate at like every single meal is like 90% carbohydrates. Like no, like no, that's too much. You don't need, you need those proteins in there.
Right.
So kind of getting them, and that sometimes just kind of sparks it in some people that they may want to know more. And then I give them my limited amount of knowledge and stuff. And then I say, I have my, my recommended, people to listen to, or, like I tell them, what you guys channels? I was like, hey, if you're on TikTok, Instagram, listen to these guys, very straightforward, very practical information that you're going to get. It's really good. It's like, if you want to talk to a dietitian or a nutritionist that we have here locally, I trust this person. They can break it down more and help you with those other things.
That's the thing right there. Yeah, because like if you want to get specific, you need to talk to someone directly who will work with you and what your needs and your limitations and all of that, because that's what I have to stick to, is just really broad guidelines. And I get people asking me about these specific scenarios, and I'm like, that's not me. Like, I'm telling you how to get more fiber and protein and stuff. Sorry, like I'd love to, but just for now, with at least with me, just the basics. But
Yeah.
Yeah, and I sometimes run into people that they think it's like they don't understand the basics of it,
right.
and that's why I try to really like pull back, because I dealt with a guy that he like a lot of his, I can't remember, some of his, he was saying his labs were way off or something, and he's like, oh, I think I need to start drinking some olive oil,
Yeah.
and I'm
right.
like, dude,
Yeah,
I've seen what you eat like 3,000 calories a day. Like I eat about 3,500 calories, but I work out like crazy, and I'm a big guy. Like
Yeah.
I said, you eat it more than I do. Yours is mainly carbohydrates. Yeah, I don't see you eating protein. You don't sleep enough, and you're going to sit there and put what extra 100, 200 calories of fat into you like no,
because they saw it on a Facebook meme.
Yeah. It's like if you started doing some cardio and maybe took a fiber supplement, like
that's a good start.
Yeah. Could that have been like a little easier?
Take some Metamucil. Start there. We'll see you again in a little bit.
Yeah. You probably feel a little bit rather than get like 200 extra calories. Like, and it wasn't even like, and he was already overweight, and it was like
the other one, apple cider vinegar. Holy shit. I see that all the time.
Yeah.
If my mom sees this, she's probably going to get mad at me, but good gracious, my mom was on that. I think she's probably still on it. It was just like, Mom, I have this apple cider vinegar. Mom, I got a wart on my hand. Apple cider vinegar. It's like, Mom, my marriage is not good. Apple cider vinegar. It's like, Mom, stop it.
I know. Why is it apple cider vinegar for everything? Oh, if you have too much inflammation, it'll bring it down. If you don't have enough inflammation, it'll give you what you need, apple cider vinegar. Oh, you don't like drinking it? Well, now we have apple cider gummies. You can you can have your apple cider in gummy form. And I'm like, this is what we need. This is what America needs right now. This is how we're going to get healthy. Are you fucking shit?
Apple cider enemas coming when?
Oh, man. I'm sure they're already here. There's no way. I'd rather go with the yogurt enemas. It seems a little more soothing.
Oh, see, that's one thing I tell people when people get mad about doctors. That my doctor wanted to do this or what. They got mad at me. I said, somebody left out of the office telling the doctor that they were going to put crystals up their rear end that they charged with the moon. They don't really care what you just that you do. Like, chillax, okay.
Oh, I know. So yeah, I'm sure you see it all the time, like people just worried about the very minute things, and the basics could help them. I mean, what do you I'm kind of curious, like, because you see I'm sure you see a lot of patients and everything. Mm-hmm. What are like the biggest pitfalls that you see? I mean, you said about like, people who don't get enough calories in, maybe they're not eating, that sort of thing. Do you see any other things time and time again? You're like, oh, this again, like, let's go over that.
One big thing I found out is people just don't know how to recognize how much or how little they are consuming. Like they will overshoot or they undershoot.
Right.
Like I've worked with some people that want to weight lift or want to start getting in shape or stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, I'm eating 3,000 calories and I'm not gaining any weight. It's like, you're 150 pounds. How your stomach is not big. And then you come find out, it's like, you're eating 1,000 calories. Like you're not eating enough.
Or they're eating 3,000 calories one day of the week.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the week, they're not. I see that so often where someone has, one day they eat either a lot less or a lot more. And then the rest of the week, they just kind of go back to like their ways or whatever. And that's what you see a lot with people who you'll see. Everybody's like, oh, I got that skinny friend who eats like so much and they'd never gain any weight. Mm-hmm. It's like maybe when you're with them, you see them eat 8 slices of pizza. And then when they're off on their own, they don't eat very much. Yeah. So like it doesn't matter. People get, I get DMs from people like, so like, what if I eat more in this 24-hour period? That doesn't, it's over the course of a week, a month, whatever. It doesn't just like reset every day. Like you need to, be consistent with it. So yes. And also they've done studies where like dietitians have not counted their calories correctly. They've been off by 25, 30%. And they're basically their job. Like they went to school for this and they still don't get it perfect. So like for the average person, it makes sense that it's difficult to understand how many calories they're consuming in a day.
Yeah.
Or a week, especially.
Mm-hmm. I think people I think of both of them, most people underestimate what they're taking in. They
Most of
think
the
like, oh, well, I mean, like when people really find out how much a serving of peanut butter is,
The peanut butter's classic, yeah.
they're
Classic.
like, what?
Oh, I saw a
It-
video recently. There was a guy they were asking people, and they were like, "How many calories do you think is in this entire pizza?" And it was like one of those like Papa John's big pizzas, and he's like, "I don't know, like 500 calories."
Mhm.
And I'm like, "In maybe 2 slices, like
Yeah.
maybe." You know, the whole pizza's like 2,000, 3,000 calories. Like,
Yeah.
we just it's hard to. So then, you know, we say like, "Hey, counting your calories for a couple weeks and tracking everything can be really useful." I know some people struggle with that and it is difficult, but it can just be a wealth of knowledge to realize how many calories are in the things, because
Yeah.
we eat the same things, you know, typically every day, like similar things at least.
Yeah.
It makes
Yeah.
sense.
And like, that's another thing. Like, again, I blame Liam for turning me on to
Yeah.
these, but I have to go over drinks.
Yeah, the
'cause
A&W
people,
zero
like-
is what he's holding up. Just
Yeah.
just that
Yeah,
one.
A&W
Yeah,
zero.
A&W zero.
Because watching his
It's
dead gum
fa-
TikToks, I was like, I got to try this. And now I'm
Such a
buying it
good,
by the case. I
movie.
need to buy stock in it. But like, again, being here in the South, we do like a lot of like sweet tea.
Sweet.
So somebody will be like, yeah, I have it.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes it's hard to gauge because it's like, well, I got my cup. How many ounces is in a cup? I don't know.
Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
it's you're in, you know, you got to use the real sugar in it. And it's like, how
Yeah.
many calories did you consume by just that? And sometimes with people, I tell them like, look, how many do you drink a day? 2. Can you cut it to 1?
Yeah.
Then we know when you
exactly.
did half. You
Yeah.
did whatever that was. You just did half,
Yeah.
and you can do water or pour. Do a half and half of sweet tea and unsweet tea. I was like, if you just take away 1
Mhm.
and see what happens when you take away 1, because I mean, 1 can of Coke is 150 calories in it. Is 150
Roughly, yeah.
180.
Yeah.
140,
like, if you drink-
170, depending on the size.
Yeah, so if you drink 2, just take away 1, and it's like,
And that's what happens with a lot of people. They drink like 4 a day, and people say
Mhm.
you have to cut that out completely, and they're just not going to do that. So can you do 2? Can you do 3?
Yeah.
I mean, just
Yeah.
1, 2
Yeah.
less.
Yeah, and I've even talked to some so funny physician I work near was saying like, oh, I was just chatting with this patient about weight loss and this and that. Oh, and I'm sorry, I kind of get like moderation is something else talking with people about. But this physician said, I was just talking to this person about losing weight and all that, and then I happened to go across the street and get something to eat, and I got a slice of pizza, and who's standing next to me but that patient? And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm embarrassed. I said, that's not a bad thing.
Right.
You should,
100%.
use that as an example to say, you can have this slice of pizza,
Mhm.
but remember, this is 300 calories in this pizza. That's 300 calories that it's like, okay, I cannot have a sweet after dessert. I again have to remove that Coke so you just, okay, you can have those things, but you have to see like maybe you don't have 2. You don't have
Right.
that.
You don't
And that's
order
what
the
we-
entire pizza, you just get a couple slices.
Yeah.
We've talked about that often, where it's tough for people because if you just eat the pizza, you could eat 3, 4 slices and you're good. But if you have the pizza with something else, as I've talked about that many times, that's really the
Yeah.
best way to go. I get, a bagged salad, a pre-made one. I have that with the pizza. Then I can eat 1 or 2 slices and feel full instead of 4 or 5. And the Cinesticks, because man, when you get a
Oh,
pizza,
man.
they're like, hey, do you want bread on your pizza? You get a bread pizza, and then you want some cinnamon sticks, and then you want a bottle of bread with that as well. Like it's just like so much. A lava cake, chocolate lava cake. Why does a pizza place have a chocolate lava cake? I don't know, but they got it, and you can order it. And so it becomes excessive.
Yes. So
Yeah.
that is something I try to like these, like, hey, here's some little things to do. And or
Yeah.
like with drinks, sparkling water.
Yeah.
I said it because people are like, I can't drink water. I said sparkling water, it kind of satisfies you. I said, yes, it does taste like when your foot fell asleep, but it's
Yeah.
tastes
Tastes like
it'll
static.
satisfy. Yeah. It tastes like TV static.
Tastes
And
like
it said
TV
it-
static.
It's like I said, it'll give you that like little
something
hold
else.
over till you get your meal.
And then if you're like us, the artificial sweeteners, of course, the flavoring packets, the diet soda, all of that is great. Just the liquid calories and drinks from like the added sugars, it's just easy to overconsume. If you can switch over to like a protein shake or something like that, it's still sweet. Bring it back to that. You're getting protein. Just instead of 2 Cokes, I have a Coke and then I have 1 protein shake. Come on, you can make that switch. That's not so bad. Just doing something like that. So
I buy that high protein milk, Dairyland for us, also Fairlife.
Dairyland.
That's
how much is it? It's $8 I'm going to say a gallon because we work in freedom units. Not even over there with your goddamn fucking whatever you live in liters.
It would actually be half gallon.
There are 2 types of countries. There are 2 types of countries. Ones that use the metric system and ones that have been to the moon.
Yes, exactly. That's my favorite one. That's my favorite. And people always bring up, oh, what does NASA use? They use metric. I'm like, yeah, who funds NASA? Freedom funds NASA. That's what I thought. Get out of here with that shit. I always love that one. Oh, I love the fucking imperial system.
But whatever. I will come back at you with Chris Hadfield, best commander of the ISS.
I don't. I know Neil Armstrong.
Chris Hadfield was the guy that made all the like music videos and all the space videos while he was commander of the ISS.
Oh, that's
he basically brought space to Earth. Like he was taking calls from kids and demonstrating how things work in no gravity.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah. That makes sense. Is that when they found out the Earth was flat, or is that later?
That was later.
That was later. Yeah. Okay, just making sure. I just want to. Wait, can I ask a question? Are you thinking the flat earthers, do they think other planets are circles, or is it just
I think they think that other planets are spherical and it's just Earth that's flat.
Yeah, I think so, which is fucking wild, and I love it so much. I've talked about it before on this podcast. I love flat earthers. I love them so much.
I always love it. That's one thing with patient. If a patient comes in with a conspiracy theory, I am so entertained, and I just let them.
Isn't it?
Oh, I love it. When
and they're
crazier,
like, you think
better.
the Egyptian tombs were made for mummies? No, they were space lasers. Obviously, they were power plants, and I'm like, please tell me more. This is amazing.
Yes, I'm like this. I will subscribe to your newsletter. Please tell me more.
Oh shit. And I like it in other fields because in nutrition, I've seen it so much, it just like annoys the shit out of me. I've just kind of like, I've seen it so much. So I love the the geography ones or flat earths, that sort of stuff. Send all that shit to me. I eat it up. It's fun.
Yeah, I get a lot with, in healthcare, of course, there's always, vaccines or, the bad
it's
stuff.
Such
and all
that, this causes autism. Yeah, there's a microchip by Billy Gates and he's monitoring you or whatever. Like, okay, I want ancient space lasers. Fucking, I love History Channel was just like, fuck it. What if we did nothing on history and it's all aliens now? I love that. Yeah, let's go. I mean, I can learn history elsewhere where it actually like is history and makes sense. You can do all the ancient aliens and have just the quacks on and just talk about, whatever weird alien thing you want. That's great. Good for you, History Channel.
Yeah, just fully embrace that. Just fully embrace the weird. Yeah,
that's what TLC did, or the Learning Channel. They were like, "Fuck it. What if we did, what are all those other ones? Like 18 and Pregnant or Honey Boo Boo, like all that stuff."
Oh yeah, it's so funny. My old choir director back home, his son worked in was applying to med school, worked in a health center, and the Duggars were patients there. And they said when they pull up, it is just a herd of people. And he goes, there's not one that's sick. They said it would be like half of them that would be sick at once because there's so many so close. But they said it was just a spectacle. This bus pulls out and it's like all these people just come out. They said they would just pile out to come out.
We are weird fucking creatures. I'll tell you that right now. Like it's
there's nothing. That's what I'm like. The documentaries and stuff on. I was like, you cannot write stuff that is any any crazier than like human being. Like I'll tell this story. I had somebody, and this is a kind of a strange one. I had a lady several years ago, and she was an old hippie. She admitted it. She said, I'm a hippie. And somebody said the hippies kind of had it right. When you're young, you go out and have you party and hang out. Then you get a real job for the rest of your life. Like, cool. But she told me, she goes, I believe in all that woo-woo stuff. I'm like, hey,
okay.
You know, that's
solid
cool
right off the bat. You're already
she
like,
just set the tone. Super sweet to talk to. Super nice. Well, she didn't show up one day. And she didn't show up. She was a no call, no show. I'm like, that's weird. I hope she's okay. And she didn't call us back. And then she came in. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Just last week, my back was hurting me really bad. And I was like, well, that's kind of what you're coming for. So why don't you come in? She goes, well, I called my psychic. I'm like, okay, now
immediately
now
I'm in. Yes, let's go.
Just
what
got
is the psychic
so much
telling
better.
you?
And he said, he's talking to me. He goes, you have an infection in your spine.
Okay.
Yes. Like, okay. And he goes, you have to drink this colloidal silver mixture.
Yes, fucking love colloidal silver. Let's go.
So she goes, I drank it and I just vomited all this black stuff out.
Of course
like,
she did, because she probably drank a lot of it too.
Yeah. And I'm like, you poisoned yourself. And then she goes, I called him back. And he goes, that's good. That's the infection coming out.
Yes,
now
it's leaving your body. Yes.
Now you got to drink this peppermint. Ooh. And she made it. I'm like, you
and that's to calm down the
house?
stomach, right?
Yeah.
Because like you just threw up and you're not feeling good. Right, right. Makes
and
total sense.
I'm like,
I'm up with it.
I'm like, you had this stuff in your house? And she just like, oh yeah. And it just relieved me and I just got better. I'm like, why did I ask? But I'll just document. I'm glad you're here today. We'll just keep going today. So it's all right. You're here. You're good. So
I fucking love any conversation that starts off with, well, I talked to my psychic. I'm like, I'm glued to my seat. I'm like, yes, please. What do we got?
I almost messed with her a little too much. Is that she was like, I've been listening to healing sounds on YouTube. I went,
of course.
And I almost said, like, what kind of speakers do you have? Because you need to have these, like, optimal. But I'm thinking, no, this lady be going out and spending $5,000 on speakers. I was like,
you could have sold her the speakers. You could have said, I have them. Oh, it's so good.
I'm not going to do that. I'm going to
special crystal infused speakers.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, now, I did. Yeah, I was just gonna say there was one video that was one of my favorites where a guy was like, all the bells were destroyed after World War II because they healed the healing frequency of the bell. Like if you sit in a bell and ring it, I'm like, first off, your eardrums would explode. But like if you sit in a bell and ring it, you'll begin to heal. I'm like, I love that so much because that's like correlation and causation. It's like, the bells got destroyed. No, they're just old fucking bells. But like it's got everything.
It's not like they got melted down for ammo for World War II or anything.
Yeah. There's so many things going on with this conspiracy theory. I'm eating it up. I'm loving all of this. I'm like, fuck yes.
I will say, if you're ever in Memphis, the Memphis Drum Shop, so that's where I'm from, near Memphis. They have an upstairs room that has gongs in it, like 80-inch gongs, and you can do vibration therapy in it. I don't think it's like, but they're like, they just like threw some rugs on the ground. They're like, you come up here and we'll just bang on these things for you. And I kind of want to do it just to like, hear and see these things and just feel it. But I was like, I'm like, and the guy up there, the owner, is like, he's really cool. He has a ton of like old collectible music stuff. But I'm like, dang, I just kind of want to go up there and just feel it and experience it, just to say,
I kind of want to set up that shop because that would be fun. Just be like, bring people up and just start banging on a gong.
Hold on, like the startup costs a little bit. You got to get a bunch of bells. Like that was probably not unwieldy, expensive, tough to move. Like all of that stuff. But once you set up, like, what's the maintenance on that? Next to nothing. You need a big hammer to hit them, and that's pretty much it.
Well, it's actually, to a gong, you have to go around it. You just kind of tap it.
Got it.
And it kind of like warms it up and to get the vibration going. It's a very specific way that you have to do it. And they just kind of just like it just brings the sound out of it. So,
and but I mean pretty much anything, with that, with the healing qualities and stuff, like,
Yeah.
I like this. We're jotting that down with Alpha Water. We've talked about it before. We're gonna start an Alpha Water, and the slogan's gonna be, "I ain't no beta bitch." And so, and we're gonna have a bunch. We're gonna have a bunch of claims. We're gonna get Chemthog to make a bunch of claims about it, and like triagonal water. I don't remember, like hexagonal water or whatever it was. I don't even remember. He'll do all the fancy word sciencey stuff, and then we'll sell the water.
That's like, did y'all watch The Righteous Gemstones?
I don't think so.
Oh my gosh! So it's on HBO, and it's about a televangelist, and one of the guys is David Goggins, not David.
Yes, I love
Walter Goggins. It's the he was, oh gosh, but he's got the white hair and the big glasses, and he's selling this holy water, and he's like, and his name's Baby Billy. He's like, and this will save you from everything. Now again, I grew up in the South. I grew up around these people, and it's like, and I make no money off of it, zilch, because I got to pay all my researchers. That's it. And I'm like, I watched that, and I'm like, I know like 3 of those guys. So it's
I love this. The full on snake oil salesman is fun. That's such a fun one. Oh, that's great. But I guess besides like conspiracy theories and all that stuff, is there any like, actual general advice you give to people after a surgery? Not even just nutrition, just in general.
We've covered all the get your energy in.
Yes.
Do you have any advice for people such as do your exercise?
Yeah, I want you to just give us like, because it's right, you said it's the simple shit that like, is the most of the time that works for people, and that's what they need. So just like, this is the stuff I generally tell people after,
often when it comes to rehab in general, I tell them, I'm like, more isn't always better.
I like it.
That's one thing we kind of sit down, because I mean, you may run into people, like y'all go to the gym, and you may know somebody at the gym, they hurt their back, and it's like, okay, well, I got to stretch more, and I got to do more yoga, and I got to do more core stuff. I got to do more. And I was like, look, you're doing more. And if more got you better, more would have got you better.
Yeah.
I was like, sometimes it's like, let's pull back and let's evaluate. Sometimes it may just be adjusting your workload. Sometimes it's just looking at your stress. Maybe we just do some very specific thing to help you, just to like, really, that's it. I tell people too, like, have somebody that you trust and that can go work with. So that's what I tell my patients, like, I am your therapist. I am your PT. I am here to help you answer any questions. And if I can't figure it out, I'm going to help you find the person that can. Right. And I said, it's good that you have like a team and people that, I can go to and I can communicate. And that's what I feel like as a therapist, like we spend so much time with patients that we're in a very, very good spot to be someone who directs people at times. So if it's, like I'm working with, Miss Johnson for weeks, and she's like, my husband's been having some, he needs to find a new cardiologist. Well, I happen to know the cardiologist to go to, it's like, or I need to know that. So we have these things that we can, send people off, or like a trainer. Like, you may work with us for a certain point and reach a point where that you're like, okay, I want to go back to doing my normal things, but it's hard with insurance, with justifying, functional things to work on. It's like, hey, I got this trainer over here. They know me. I trust them that they're going to take care of you. Go over this. Oh, I got a nutritionist. Okay, this is when you go over this. I know mental health counselors and all that, just to direct you over to here. You need, so that we have these, we can just, I don't have to do everything.
Right. To have a team.
But I have a knowledge of who to send to and who to direct you to, in that I trust them, they trust me, and we're overall looking for your looking out for you. Really, we're looking out for you. Your best interest. We want to do these things rather than you're trying to, I read this thing from this guy, but then this guy kind of contradicted, and this said over here, but this person said, it's like, no, like here's really what it is on it. So kind of how I look at it.
Yeah. Just keep it simple, have a supportive team, the boring stuff. And then, read about like space lasers and stuff when you,
then if you want to come in with
a crystal infusion in whatever body part that you had surgery on.
Yeah. Just
What crystals would you recommend, Matt, for after surgery? Like, are you, like what kind of gemstones would you recommend? Are we talking topaz? Do they have to go expensive with that, or do they have to go jade, or can they knock it down a little bit to more like a sapphire or something like that?
We'll go quartz. I guess that's a word. I've heard that one time.
And real cheap. Yes, that's what.
Yeah,
This is why you listen to us, people, for the affordable options like quartz on your surgery.
I mean, I
sites.
still remember the magnet stuff. Like that was. I'm waiting. I think that's going to be one. No, that's coming back at some point. The healing magnets and
healing magnets. Yeah.
Yeah,
You remember the wristbands that were like supposed to give you like your balance and everything like that?
So one of my professors from PT school. You remember that? You ever watch the show The Doctors?
I've heard. I know the show.
So, because I did PT school in California, and she got called up to do some. She was a Parkinson's researcher, and spent a lot of time with that. And so she had a area that she did a lot of research in, and had those bracelets on, and had people do balance stuff with and without them, and it was no different. So, and I lo and behold, happened to like walk by a TV screen and saw her. I was like, "Oh, it's Doctor." And it was,
but
it was to see like
they paid LeBron James a ton of money to wear it, or whatever, athlete. Like that's that stuff. I love that. Where it's just like this rock, put it around your wrist, wear it. It's gonna do all these things. I love how we always end up going back to that because it's like the stuff that you need to do is so boring and it's just like, oh, get your protein and exercise and but what about the crystals that make you better at everything? That's just more fun, and that's why those people make more money.
Yeah, and it's people think like it's this. And this is what I tell people: if the shortcut worked, it would be called the way. I said, really think about it. If you're in danger and your friends are coming to save you, do you want them to go, "Oh, I know a shortcut"? Because it's like, wait a minute, you were being an asshole and going the long way. Like, wait a minute. We were thinking, you were going the long way. First off, why are you not taking? I was like, if there was a short, we take that because again, our healthcare costs are just crazy.
Oh yeah,
and like the burden that we're under to like everything to do. It's like, if I could give you this crystal and it healed it, boop, like we would bottom out the cost, give it to you. You'd be healthy. So much,
but then you wouldn't be paid by Big Pharma to keep everyone sick, which is what I'm always hearing.
I have been on that one here lately, but like that's why I asked. I'm like, okay, when Big Pharma makes the payment to you, it's like, is it like a lump sum? Is it every other week? Like, do you have to pay taxes on it? Like, what's the tax rate?
Oh, you're asking me personally? Okay, so when I get paid by Big Pharma, it is a bi-weekly sort of thing. I do have to pay taxes on it, but it's a substantial amount of money. As long as I keep telling people the Oreos and Ben and Jerry's, then Big Pharma just keeps sending me money. It's a great fucking system.
Oh.
Damn you, socialized healthcare for not paying me out.
Yes, exactly. Big Pharma is the way to go. Sell your soul to Big Pharma. Oh man, I loved how recently like Dr. he was talking about it. How like alternative medicines and like the wellness industry makes just as much, if not more, than
I think
Big
I heard
Pharma.
It was valued at $1 trillion or something like that.
It's close to it. I remember it was like close. It was in the hundreds of billions. I was like, that's just fucking crazy. Yeah, but that's because so many people are searching for the simple solution.
Yeah, and I tell whenever people see that stuff and it's somebody coming on social media like Big Pharma doesn't want to. It's like, okay, look, one, Big Pharma could pay you off really easy, or two, they would crush you. Okay, like because there's been other. Like Microsoft crushed a guy whose name was Mike Rowe, and he had a website called Mike Rowe Soft, and Microsoft that like destroyed this guy's reputation. There was a big thing. It's like $1 billion company, and you're some peon that does nothing. They could beep and you're gone. Like, come on, seriously.
Well, that's what happened to Dr. Sebi.
Yeah, so of course, Dr. Sebi, yes. Oh, goodness. And I'm sure many others.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Is there anything else you want to hit on before we go, Mike? Is there anything else you wanted to tell people, let them know,
Anything
Anything we didn't touch on?
No, well, I mean, there is a component to chronic pain with some with diet. So it's not just like post-operative patients, but patients that may be coming in with a chronic pain. So again, like, oh, I've been dealing with back pain for a long time, or this chronic pain. That's another area we may start talking to, but the same thing about, you got like, let's look at changing we have to look at that as a huge picture. It's a bigger picture. And I know I'm like, I can't treat all of it. I may just get you up and moving, but I may ask, how are you sleeping? So we talk about sleep, but how are you? How's your diet? How is your eating?
Right. Yeah.
And it may say like they may, because they may feel, I just don't feel like I feel good and I'm just tired. Like, okay, we possibly changing it. It's like, are you talking to anybody? Is there any way we can get you a therapist to talk to? And just kind of looking at us like, hey, there's all these things, and I may talk to him about the things of exercise and moving. That's the big thing. It's like, yeah, you got this chronic pain. You're going to have some discomfort as you start moving and you start doing this. It may, we're not hurting anything. We're not damaging anything, but you're going to get better. And then we again go over to nutrition. What are you eating? Are you eating breakfast? Because people say, no, I just skip breakfast. Okay, but you can get something quick and easy to have for breakfast. Could you look at maybe removing something? Are they possibly utilizing alcohol as to help them? Again, so to say like, I'm not a counselor to help you with that, but to say there aren't really benefits to it. I know it can possibly help you with your pain, it can escape things, but it's not going to be beneficial for you. And really, this is a talk that goes every visit. It's just something we chat about and we just build it. So again, we get in there and talking about resources of saying like, oh, if you wanted to go talk to somebody about this, I can help you find somebody. I can help you find those resources. And at least getting them on board saying like, I'm on your side. I'm on your side to help you out. I'm doing these things to help you. Cause overall I am just one piece of it, but I can help you get some other pieces from there.
I like it. Oh, before we go, I need to ask also, as a physical therapist, what's your take on chiropractors? I'm not looking for all good or all bad, but like just as a general, like, how do you, because you're in that kind of, I feel like you're in the physical therapy space, the chiropractors, it could be, I don't know. I'm just curious.
Yeah, there are some, I am buddies with some that are very good, that they don't like to crack people. They say like, hey, we're going to get you moving. We're going to, doing this, understanding. Right. If we got to put our hands on you in some capacity, they will. I mean, I know some chiropractors, like my neck got jacked up a couple weeks ago, and like I'm trying to treat it for myself, but I knew I hit a point. I said, I have to get a manipulation. So I was like, hey, would you do this? Pop. And I went, that was it. And I know I just needed that one little piece, but when they get into the things of saying like, oh, let's get you an X-ray and look at your spine and do all, you got all this here, and you need to buy 38,000 500 treatments, and you got to get this, and you get this machine, and the decompression thing I am not a big fan of, mainly because it's traction is one. Second, I saw somebody selling a coaching program on how to add decompression to your practice to make more money. So I was like, you weren't caring about people. You're just trying to get more money. Yeah. So when it's really not getting into like, hey, we may use these hands-on things, but you need to strengthen that. You need to move. You need to like you need to be more active. That's when things are like a little like, oh, okay, you're just here for, money. You're not really getting into it. You're getting people dependent. But when they're like, no, I don't want you to see me all the time. I want to provide as minimal of the care possible to get you moving and feeling, and that's it. Now, granted, they may have to. I know people that got a lot of relief. They're like, yeah, I had to go for a long time, but they had a serious issue. But yeah, also when they get into like, again, there's some conspiracy stuff on like curing disorders and the whole stuff with COVID. They were like,
cure your chronic kidney disease with the C1 manipulation.
And then like I heard of like children with cerebral palsy, like, oh, we'll cure their cerebral palsy with do it. It's like, Okay,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
you're
yeah.
just manipulating money out of their wallet. So that's all
Yeah.
you're doing.
Because there's like
So-
And I
scam
will
artists
say-
and like everything, but just it feels like chiropractors they get a good percentage of those.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they kind of how they're set up. They have more freedom, and so that's where they get in. They can just start saying because their practice act and all that just gives them more freedom, so they can just say all these things again.
Got it.
All those conspiracy about big pharma and stuff like that. It's like, oh
Got it.
gosh.
The best spinal decompression, by the way, is just a good night's sleep.
Oh yeah.
That's when our spines decompress, is when we're
Yeah.
laying perpendicular to gravity.
Oh, guys,
Yes.
it always comes back to the boring shit like sleep more
I
and
know.
exercise and eat your fiber
So
and protein.
boring.
It's so stupid. I want more C1 manipulations, space lasers, bell therapy, crystals. That's the fun stuff. That's the shit I want. But anyway, Matt, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram. I have the goofiest handle there. It's Matt_PT_DIP_MDT. But on all other socials, it is. I did that. I will say this. I will throw this out there. I named that due to a friend of mine who helped me get in through the McKinsey program. He suffered some mental health issues and is no longer with us. I keep that in his memory, and
That
I
makes
always
sense.
remember him. I miss you, Dave. I miss you so much. But on everything else, on TikTok, Instagram, not Instagram, the YouTubes, I am Matt the PT. You can find me on there. So I am usually a goofball and also trying to put out information to help all y'all.
Hey, wasn't that a great time listening to the podcast? You were just, I'm assuming you were just listening to in moderation. So if you go ahead and hit the 5-star button, is that a thing? The like button?
That's a thing.
No.
Yep.
The like button
5
on
stars.
YouTube. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button. Not the dislike button. That's a bad button. The
Bad
like
button.
button. Bad
Don't
button.
touch.
Hit all,
Don't
so
touch
hit
it.
all the other buttons. The share. You can go check out
all those things.
subscribe. Go check out our Patreon. We do have a Patreon. It's free to join if you want, or you could give us some money. That'd be really cool, like $1 or $2. It doesn't matter. Whatever you have.
That's where you'll find all the news for this.
We're super appreciative. You can find all sorts of other stuff there. We do giveaways, I think, sometimes,
Sometimes.
all that good. Yeah, absolutely. So, peace.